Hi, this is Anna Sophia, and today we're going to talk about how to deal with hazing and bullying and how to stop it in a positive, proactive way. And I'm going to tell you some of the mistakes that I did when I was trying to stop bullies from bullying me, and especially abusive parents, what mistakes I did, and how to cope with hazing, even though I haven't been in a sorority or fraternity. What are sororities and fraternities? First of all, it's like a group of sisters that live in the same house, and they raise money for charities. And that's what sorority and sorority is. And fraternities are boys who do the same thing. They raise money for non-for-profits, for poor people, for disadvantaged, for disabled people, and they raise money for them. And they live together in a big mansion, in a big house. A big house or a big mansion. It could be a house or a mansion. And I would love to go to UCLA because I've heard so many good things from their sororities and fraternities, and I want to join a sorority. So in the future, in the next two years or so, I want to apply for UCLA. So give me some UCLA, fight. So I would like to be part of their students there. And I've heard so many good things, but not from Penn State, which we're going to talk about Penn State. And I think so hazing can occur anywhere, in any school. And there's nothing to be ashamed of if you are a leader in that school. There's nothing to be ashamed of because it happens. You just need to know how to deal with it if you're the student. And I'm going to tell you how because I've read a lot about it in books on both hazing and bullying. So it can hurt a lot of things when, especially when you have an abusive relationship. I had an abusive stepfather, and he always called me stupid, ugly, and dumb. You're a stupid girl. You're dumb. You're never gonna graduate out of high school, he used to say. And his mom, one time she made me cookies too, but she also said one time, his mom, she said, well, you're never going to graduate out of college because I don't think you have the capability or the brains to do it. And I was like, what? I was like, whoa. But I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, well, thanks for your opinion inside myself. I told this to myself inside. Thanks for your opinion, but I'm actually going to graduate. I'm going to work my shit off, and I'm going to try to do my best job ever in college. And I ended up graduating with a master's and a bachelor's instead of 5 years. I finished it in 3 years. See? So even if I was a bullied person by my stepfather's family, I was still able to overcome that and not only graduate instead of 5 years with a master's and a bachelor's, I did it in 3, like I mentioned previously, and I got a 3.7. 6, something like that. Yeah, 6, 3.76, which it rounds up to 3.8. But I combined the combined master's and bachelor's grade because it was an honors, and I graduated with honors too. So from the College of St. Rose, it was a beautiful college, and I love my teachers there. They were so nice to me. But yes, basically, that's what happened to me, and I just, you can be called, when you're bullied at Dweb, a geek, and a weirdo, or a wimp, or a nerd, or a midget, or worthless, or a dork. So, I've been called those 3 things. Stupid girl, ugly, and dumb by my stepfather. And, I just want to be an inspiration to children. I recently wrote a book, and I'm trying to get a literary agent. And I am in the process of that. It's already edited, but I certainly want to be an inspiration to children who are in these abusive relationships with a stepfather or a stepmother. Or their own parents that are not really good. And I'm going to tell you how to deal with bullying that happens in school because I have been a victim of that too, and it's not fun at all. Okay, a parent or parents bullying you. Let's talk about that first. Because there's students who bully you. We're going to talk about that too and how to deal with students, but also with parents. When parents swear at you or say something bad to you, like you're a stupid girl, beep 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 beep, you should do the dishes, beep 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 beep, because you don't do anything, beep 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 beep, and this is why beep beep beep, you're a stupid girl or a stupid boy. So when that happens, what I suggest you to do is not respond back with hate, saying, well, you're this too, and beep beep beep, and you're this too, because you're being mean to me. No, don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. And I didn't know that. And I responded with the same hate that was being portrayed at me with my stepfather. I responded with hate too, because I thought that was a way to make him stop, but it's not the way to do it. What's the correct way to do it is, hey, I don't like it when you swear at me. It makes me feel really sad. And I promise you that if you don't swear at me, I won't do the same. I will do the same. I will do the same. And if that parent says, well, I don't care if you do this or this, or if you don't swear at me, I'm still going to swear at you. In that instance, that is child abuse, people. That's child abuse. And I think that's why I didn't act that way sometimes with my stepfather, and I didn't tell him that at first, because I thought that he would act that way. He would say, hey, you're simply not the one who is running the bills here, and you have to respect me whether I say swear words or not. That's kind of child abuse, and I think make the attempt. I never made the attempt to say that to him. Never told him that. To say, I promise not to use bad words if you don't use bad words towards me, because it really hurts me. I didn't say that, but I think if I constantly said that, he might have backed off. I think maybe. I never tried it, but I want you to try it first. And if that doesn't work, then I suggest to talk to a favorite teacher, your favorite teacher, and tell her your story about what you've done to your stepfather or stepmother or parent, and tell them that bullying can sometimes come from a family member, and that's what you're suffering with right now, currently, and tell them everything, every single detail. But because that's child abuse too. It's hard to swallow when they're still rude to you and you're trying to be nice to them. That's abuse. In any situation, what you shouldn't do is take it into your own hands. And I'm going to tell you a story of myself. When I was washing dishes, I wasn't washing dishes. I started washing the dishes, and I said, oh my God, I have a lot of shit. I have a lot of homework to do, and I have to study for 4 tests. 4 to 5 tests. 4 to 5 tests. 4 to 5 tests. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. And I'm here washing the dishes, and I have a lot of work and a lot of homework. Oh my God. So then I approached Joseph, my stepfather, and I said, Joseph, hey, is it okay? I said nicely, is it okay if I don't wash the dishes today, because I have 4 to 5 exams that I have to study for tomorrow. And not only that, 2 of them were pop-up exams, surprise exams. That was a teacher who's like, surprise, you have test tomorrow. And I was like, no. That was 2 of them like that. And I said, I have to study for them and I have homework to do. And he's like, well, I don't care, you're a stupid girl, because you should care more about washing the dishes than your homework. And I was like, hey, calm down. Please let me do this, because I promise to wash them tomorrow. I promise. And he's like, no, you need to cooperate in this house. You need to do something. And washing the dishes, I used to wash dishes all the time, 3 times a day. I felt like Cinderella. I really did. My mom was nice, but I did the dishes like 3 times a week, and it was like, oh, it was so horrible. But I just wanted this day off because I had that many tests, and I had a lot of homework. And he's like, no way. So then what happens was that he charged at me, and I said, shit, I have to get out of here. And I ran in the hallway because he was chasing after me, like he wanted to hurt me or punch me or do something. And I ran out the door, and I opened the door, and I got into the car, and I locked everything in the car. And then he got into the car. He wanted to get into the car, and because it was locked, he couldn't. And he said, Sophie, with a very calm voice, trust me, I'm not gonna hurt you, Sophie. I just want to talk to you and see if we can come up with an agreement. And I was like, aww, he's so sweet. I should trust him. He's telling me to trust him. So I unlocked the doors, and then this stepfather, got into the car and immediately grabbed my hair and started banging it in the console of the car like crazy. And I tried to stop it because I felt that he was gonna hurt my nose or break it, but he just slapped. He like got it near. He was slapping it in the car, in the console of the car, and I said, please stop. And then he put my head in between his legs, and he wanted to snap my neck off, and I screamed, help, really loud, help, really, really loud. And he just got scared, and he grabbed and he stopped. He was almost gonna kill me by snapping my neck off. And instead of doing that, because I shouted, help, 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 what he did was he took my hand and he twisted it. He wanted to hear the crack. Like, he wanted to hear the crack because he twisted it really violently. And I said, oh my God, I'm in big trouble. This guy is a lunatic. And he twisted it and it went crack. It went like that crack. And I thought I had broken it because it hurt so much. And it became purple. And I was like, oh my God. And when he went crack, I think he got scared because I really shouted a lot, like help, help, help. And I also put my hands into his skin really hard with my other hand. And it made him release my hand because he wanted to hurt. And he says, that's what you get for not washing the dishes. I was like, whoa, holy cow. So my mom said, Sophie, try to be nice to him, because if you tell the doctors, do you really think you need to go to the hospital? And I was crying. I was like, it hurts. My wrist hurts. It hurts really bad. And she said, okay, I'm going to take you to the hospital. And then we went to the hospital. And before we went to the hospital in the car, she said, please don't tell anyone what really happened, because if you do, we're out in the street and we have no money. And I sort of agree with my mom, but at the time, I think it would have, if I was a mother, I would have possibly, like, divorced him. Because he was really, really, it was very, very violent. It's weird because in elementary school, he wasn't like that. He was really sweet to me. And then as it went to middle school and high school, he was kind of distant and cold. He became someone that he wasn't before in elementary school. And okay, so then I said, okay, Mom, back to the story. I said, okay, Mom, I'm not going to say anything, because she really didn't want to get a job. That's the reality. I think that's why she didn't want to get a job. And because she was a homestay mom, basically I did the whole 3 times a day the dishes. But she watched Days of Our Lives, which was interesting too, because sometimes I watched it and when I didn't have that much homework. I basically, that was my main issue. But that's another story for another day about my mom's relationship with me. And she was like a counselor to me. She was a nice woman to me. So it's not that. I'm not saying that she was bad. She was a good woman to me. She counseled me whenever I was sad about anything. And anyways, we went to the hospital, and I said, I promise. And the doctor said, oh my God, this is really sprained really badly. What did you do? And I was like, oh, I just fell out of the stairs, and I grabbed it, and I fell, and I almost tumbled, and I grabbed it, and it twisted my hand when I grabbed the railing. And I said the same thing to my and they said they didn't put a cast, but they put a bandage, and I had to keep it in the bandage for a while until it healed, like a week or 2 weeks. I forgot the exact date, but I had to wear it like that for several weeks. And I was just really sad. Like, I was just depressed. I almost, because he called me a stupid girl, dumb, ugly. He called me more stupid and dumb girl. And he called me a stupid girl almost every, there was a fight every day in high school. Towards senior year, he would fight with my mom every day, or me. Every day. I'm not joking. Senior year. It was that bad. It was horrible. It was an abusive relationship. Now, what I suggest you shouldn't do when you're abused is take it into your own hands. Like, for example, I saw a movie that was called Double Jeopardy. Double Jeopardy. It was so good. It literally, the story is amazing. It talks about how she's blamed for her husband's death, and she didn't do anything. And she just woke up in the boat, and he disappeared. But there was blood everywhere. And she was blamed for his disappearance. But his husband is still alive and has bad, this is a spoiler. Sorry for not warning you of the spoiler. Is still alive. And then that's when the story develops. Which I'm not going to say anymore. And he was an agent, like a cop. And it's so good. But it didn't teach me good things because it said murder isn't always a crime. Murder isn't always a crime. And I was like, okay, murder isn't always a crime. So I thought, okay, because of Double Jeopardy. And I actually investigated this law and says, if you need to defend yourself against someone who is trying to hurt you, you can defend yourself back and murder them because they're trying to hurt you. And I said, oh, okay. So then I thought, okay, so in middle school, I saw this movie. And I was like, it's a problem with the dishes again. It was another story of problem with the dishes. And I didn't want to watch them. I was 11 years old. 11 to 13 years old. 11 I saw the movie, and 11 years old. I was a child. And they forced me to wash the dishes like 3 times a day. Or it was 2 times a day. 2 times. And in high school, 3 times. High school, 3 times a day. And in high school, 2 times a day. And in middle school, in middle school 2 times a day. And in high school 3 times a day. There. And I was like, this guy, I was doing my homework and he says, get downstairs and wash the dishes. He was like really yelling at me, my stepfather. And I went downstairs and I was like, hey, I don't want to wash the dishes today. And he's like, and he was spanking me every single week, people. He was spanking me every single week. Every single week he was spanking me. That is not normal. And he liked seeing me cry because he wouldn't stop until I cried. Yeah, and he called me a stupid girl and dumb and ugly. And more dumb and more stupid girl. And then I was like, this time he was on a charge after me. He'd been spanking me every week in middle school. And I was like, oh my god, he was charging at me. So I quickly grabbed a knife from the kitchen and I said, back away and don't come near me, because I didn't want to get hurt. And I said, well, it's Double Jeopardy because he's going to attack me, he's going to abuse me, he wants to abuse me. And his spankings were not light. It was like he was hitting me. His spankings was with his knuckles like this, and he hit me like that with his knuckles. Like he was hitting me like that. He didn't do this. He did this more. And it hurt my back. And sometimes he would beat my back too. And it's a true story. And then I said, back away with a knife. And I said, back away and I didn't call the police because I didn't want them to put me in an orphanage by social services. And it was ironic because my mom worked for social services. And I didn't want my mom to get separated from me because I did love my mom and she was working, and well, he stayed at home in middle school, and he worked sometimes, but he like I didn't want to lose touch with my grandpa and grandma either from Mexico. And I thought that, in all honesty, I thought, jeepers creepers, this is a horrible situation. But I'm gonna do my best to do good in school and get ahead in my career, so that he doesn't have to, so I don't have to, my mom doesn't have to live with him for the rest of her life, because she because she wasn't rich and her salary wasn't that great. Alright, so I almost stabbed him, because I said back away, because I almost stabbed him because he came towards me. He was gonna punch me he actually punched me, he punched my butt and he punched my back. Sometimes, when he spanked me, he would he would use his fist to spank me. It was it wasn't spanking, it was hitting. It was abuse. So I said back away, and he came towards me, and I said back off. Don't hurt me. And I kind of let him take the knife. I could have stabbed him, but I didn't, because I didn't have a heart to. But I wanted to scare him, and I could have gotten in trouble, because the police could have said, well, you tried to defend yourself, but you should have called us instead. And you could have gotten in trouble if you stabbed him, for him getting close. But I didn't stab him because he grabbed it from my hand, and I could have punched him in his groin or something and taken that knife and stabbed him back. But I didn't. I just let him take the knife out, and he started beating me with his fist in my back, in my spine, and in my butt. That's what he liked doing. And he wouldn't stop until I cried. He's just a horrible man that I don't, it was horrible. It was horrible. But you know what? I forgive him, because I believe in Jesus, and I think he would forgive him too. And he's a better man to my brother Anthony. So I forgive him. So I put an X here, because it goes against what I said. It doesn't go against what I said here, that what you shouldn't do is take it into your own hands. And that was when I grabbed a knife and I let him take it out of my hand. But I could have hold it, taken it, and finished him off with it, because he was trying to abuse me. He was trying to hit me physically. But I think if you contact Child Protective Services and you tell them about your situation and that you don't want to get separated from your mom, or your grandpa and grandma, I think they would have a heart for you. So please don't think that they're going to take you to an orphanage or anything like that. I think it's the right thing to do is talk to them and say, I don't want my grandparents or grandma to stop being with me or my mom. Because this child abuse came from him. My mom rarely spanked me. It was all him. And he spanked me for little things. And it was using his fist. When he was really angry at me, he would use his fist. So that's basically beating a child. And that's not... Using your fist is not really spanking. But I wanted to explain it because it was in the back. And he went like this. And pass. He would hit me like that. Okay, how I dealt with different types of bullying and how you can too. So physical. Mr. Casey was a superintendent. When I was going to Brattleboro and Perth, he was a superintendent. And there was this boy who took my backpack, and he started... I had it on my shoulders, and he started going in circles and circles and circles and circles. And I said, hey, stop. And he was also stalking me. And he was, Mr. Casey was really nice, and he just said, hey, he talked to him, and he told him to not do that again, and he just didn't do it again. He was a nice boy to me afterwards, after that. So I think what you should do is tell authorities. And in this case, I went with my mom. And I told my the superintendent, my mom told the superintendent, and we went together to tell him about this incident. And it never happened again. Never. He was a good boy after that. So, all in the past. I don't know his name either. I don't know his name. But that's what happened. So my work erased from whiteboard. This was another bullying experience. And basically just go to authorities and tell them your story. Whether with a parent or someone. And never swear at them. Because that doesn't give you authority. That just makes you like a worser victim because you're swearing at that person, and they're not going to help you if you disrespect them. One time I was writing all my math equation on the board, and this man, this boy, it was in middle school. This boy loved me. I knew he loved me, but he just wanted to be goofy, and he erased all of my work from the whiteboard. So that's bullying. So he said, "What is your name?" Because I never knew his name. And he told me his name. And I said, "Well, okay." He said Anthony. And I said, "Okay, Anthony, thank you for telling me who you are. What's your name?" And he said Anthony. So I right away when he erased my work, I said, "What's your name?" And he said Anthony. So I went to the teacher and I said, "Anthony just erased all of my work, and I was working so hard, and he erased all of it." And he just basically talked to Anthony, and Anthony was like, "Okay, I won't do it again. I'm sorry." So basically he just stopped doing it. And that was the last bullying experience that I got from Anthony. He was a gentleman after that to me. So what do you do? You just basically you go to the authority or a teacher you trust. And if that teacher doesn't do anything, go to someone higher in authority. But say it nicely. Say it with confidence. Say what happened with confidence. Don't be shy. Lunch Alma Muriel. Oh, well, this was in elementary school. And boy, oh boy, I made a friend. My friend who went to La Alma Muriel, which was a Catholic school, I was like in love with my best friend because she was so sweet, she was so kind, and then she started hanging out with this girl, and they both threw my lunch. There was a gate because it was a Catholic school. There was a gate, and she threw my lunch over the gate, and I started crying because it splattered all over the steps. And I was like, "Holy cow, this is the cruelest thing this best friend has ever done to me." And I didn't eat anything for lunch because they threw it over the fence. And I was like, "Holy cow, this is really cruel." So I didn't eat anything, and I went in tears, and I told the English teacher, and she said, "No. You two girls are going to have to," and I cried to the English teacher. And she's my worst subject, by the way. I didn't speak, I'm Mexican. I speak Mexican. I'm Latina. But I told the teacher, "These girls just took my lunch," and I told her what they did. I told her what they did. And she was like, "Hell no, these two girls right here need to pay for your lunch. And right now I'll give you my money, and I'm going to write a letter to their mothers, and they're going to have to pay your lunch. They're going to have to pay me back." And my teacher gave me money, and I went to, and I ate I ate tacos. But I was really sad, and I told my teacher, and she helped me out. So trust your teachers. Alright, another incident, pull of my hair. There was this boy that really loved me a lot, and I knew he loved me, he liked me, but out of nowhere he yanked my hair back, and he pulled it, and I was like, "Ow!" That like hurt really bad. And I went up to Mr. Baker, and I said, "Mr. Baker, I think it was Corey. Corey just pulled my hair." And he's like, and he said, Corey, why did you pull her hair? And he's like, well, I was just fooling around. And he got in trouble because he got detention. But that's a bully. That's physical bully. That's a physical violence. And I think it was because he liked me. But boys, please, if you like a girl, don't bully her. Don't bully her. That's the worst thing you can do if you love a girl. Because then she's gonna hate you that you bullied her. She's not gonna want to go out with you. So, social. Okay, middle school leftover lunch. There was a rumor that my locker smelled because I left my lunch. I left it there for like a couple of days. I think it was like 3 days. I was a little lazy to pick it up. I left it. I forgot about it. I kept forgetting about it. I was lazy to write it down on a piece of paper and say, get your lunch out of the locker. And I didn't get it out. So I don't blame them for being upset at me. I don't blame them for being upset at me for my locker smell. I don't blame them. But it was for 3 days. I didn't put a sticky note, take it off when you leave for the house. And I just forgot about it for 3 days. And everybody was like, it smells like bad, really bad, her locker. And I was kind of like, that was horrible. I just went up to the girl he said, who's telling this news? I went up to the girl and I said, hey girl, I got you. I'm sorry. I just left it 3 days there because I forgot. And I hope you don't get mad at me because that's why it smells. And I'm sorry. And she's like, oh, no, that's fine. So, hey, the bullying stopped. So just be also, a good sanitarian to your friends. Because sometimes they have a point. Like sometimes you need to be more put together and take your lunch with you and wash it in your house. So yeah, that's one way of dealing with bullying. Just talk it out peacefully with your friends and with strangers, because I was sort of a stranger. So it was sort of my friend, but sort of a stranger because we didn't really hang out that much, but we were friends, sort of. Okay, another social thing. Went to sleep over with three girls, including me. And I went to sleep and I was like, great, I want to get this experience of going out with people that I know and being friends with them and doing sleepovers. So I went and I was like, yay, I'm going out and I'm going to have fun and this is going to be the best day of my life. So then I went to this girl's house, and it was I think it was twins, and they had another girl come over too. And I was sleeping, and suddenly I felt something running down my nose, and I was like, I picked it up, and they had put toothpaste all over my face. I was like, hell no, this is cruel. These are not real friends. And I started crying, and they were laughing their heads off, and I just told their mother, and their mother just got angry at them. And even if their mother didn't get angry at them, if she didn't get angry at them, I wouldn't have gone back to their house. And even if like, for example, even when they did that to me, I didn't go back to their house. Even if they say sorry, I said I forgive you, but I never went back to their house. And I just treat them nicely, but from a distance. Because that day I slept in their brother's room in the floor. I know. It was bad. But I forgive them because people can change over time. So I'm sure they're nice girls by now. I think that they've learned to be kind girls because my mom is still contacting her mom and she's friends with them. So I'm sure that their actions have changed by now and they've become wiser with more wisdom by their past mistakes. So, okay, verbal bullying. Flute girl. Okay, this one, I'm telling you these stories so that you know how to deal with bullying and that you don't feel bad that you're the only person that is being bullied. Don't think that, because you're not alone. I've been bullied too. And okay, verbal bullying was a flute girl. And basically, this flute girl, there was a flute that you grabbed and you signed out to go to the bathroom. And I was signing out and I had the flute next to me. And this girl just goes to next to me and grabs the flute from my hands. She just takes it. And I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Angela." And I said, "Always ask them, what's your name? What's your name?" And she said, "Angela." And I was like, "Can you give me my flute back? Because I had it first." And she's like, "No." So I went to the teacher and I said, "Hey, this girl just snatched the flute away from my hands, and she just wants to go to the bathroom all by herself by taking my place, because I had the flute first." So what this teacher did was he basically told her in front of everyone, "Angela, give the flute back to her because she had it first." And that was it. She never started a quarrel, or she never bullied me ever again. She was a nice girl afterwards, after that incident. And I think I think bullies, when you talk to authority, it changes everything. Okay, it changes everything. And if that authority is not doing anything about it, go to someone higher in authority. Cyberbullying. Story left for a future lawsuit. Private one. Will tell it publicly if they don't give me a reward, because I'm doing a cyber. I was cyber bullied, and that's another story publicly if they don't pay me a reward in the future. All right. Don't be shy when you approach someone. It's okay to cry to authority or teacher or principal. Be kind to them and explain. So I already talked about all my tips on how to deal with bullying through stories, but I'm just doing a summary of what you should do just to refresh your memory. So be kind to them and explain clearly what happened. Don't be mouthy, and people will respect your story more. If the teacher does nothing, take it to the principal. If the principal does nothing, write a letter and call the school board of education. 3. Lawsuit for money, last resource. The same rules apply if you're in the workforce. Take it to your boss, who is an authority in this case. And last resource, a fine in the form of a lawsuit. A fine. Don't be afraid of going all the way to a fine, and because sometimes that's needed. Bullying can come from who? Parents, friends, media if you're a celebrity. If you're a celebrity and somebody is being mean to you, just say, "Hey, I'm like you. Please take it easy on me." Like that. 4. Students in class. 5. Strangers. 6. Workplace. 7. Peer pressure. We're going to talk about peer pressure in a minute. Okay, in a minute after this story. Bullying doesn't take everything personally. Okay, sometimes in bullying, don't take everything personally. Learn to laugh it off. Sometimes laughing it off makes the bullying stop, because they get confused, or they think it's funny too, and they just stop bothering you. So 1, learn to laugh it off. Example, Tyler. He said, "You're a hot chili pepper." In elementary school, he said, "Sophie, you're a hot chili pepper." And I thought that meant I was a prostitute, because I didn't know the language. I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm sorry, Tyler. I didn't know the language. And my mom either. She didn't know the language. And she got mad at the principal because she said, "He can't go on saying horny things to my daughter." She thought it was horny, and that he was calling me a prostitute by telling me a hot chili pepper. So he got detention. I'm so sorry, Tyler. I feel so bad. You were so funny, and you had so much charisma, and I just didn't know what that meant. And I thought that it meant prostitute, because I told my mom, and she said, "She's calling you a prostitute if he's telling you you're a hot chili pepper." Just, I know, this is horrible because he didn't have bad intentions. So bullying sometimes, guys, sometimes you'll have to learn to say thank you and laugh it off. Yes. I'm sorry, Tyler, you didn't deserve detention. I'm sorry. I hope he can forgive me. Peer pressure. Say kindly, you have a lot of homework, I can't come, or another fair excuse if you are a single adult. I have a date. If you're a married one, say I have to take care of my baby. You know my wife believes in sharing responsibility. Stop being friends with them. Be friendly with them from a distance and learn to say no thank you. No thank you. The Penn State hazing. Okay, this is really an interesting case because it said Penn student given 18 drinks in 82 minutes before hazing death. Prosecutors say he was given 18 drinks. Oh my God. You guys, you have to learn to say no, thank you. I'm not going to drink that much. And if they get mad at you, report it to the police or report it to a teacher because they can't force you to drink that many drinks. That's awful. 18 drinks, I would get tipsy by the second one. So 18 is way, way past it. You have to learn to say no thank you, even under peer pressure. And I think that's the problem with bullying and hazing, that we don't learn to say no thank you. And if they don't respect that, go to the authorities. Alright, that was about Penn State hazing. Learn to say no thank you with a thank you so they don't feel threatened or like you're being mean to them. Alright, the end. Thank you for this talk. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I just leave a comment and tell me about your how you use this to help you deal with a bully. Because I really would. Hopefully all my tips through my stories helped you out in some way or another. So thank you so much, and this is Ana Sofia. Bye. Thank you.